Step number 1. Alexis. Step 0. What do we need to do? Identify what?
Variables.
Yep. Right now we only know the letters A, B, C, and D, and eventually we're going to know C and D. Alexis, what do I write above this?
Y equals A sin B B X.
What's your A value?
1.
And your B value?
Half.
1/2. Thank you. Step number 2. Step number 1. Cindy?
Find the variance.
What's your formula?
2 pi over B.
Let's put this over here now. There's my 1/2, right? Don't touch it, just turn it horizontal. Two pi divided by 1/2. Class, what happens here? And here? What do I have? 2 pi times 2 over 1 or 2, which is 4 pi. Raise your hand if you got that. Alright. Lupe, step number 2.
Divide the interval into 4 equals 5.
Now I like to draw my graph the size of my palm, and then I also want space underneath to do my table. Class, in order to have 4 intervals, you have to have how many tick marks? Count with me. Ready, set, go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
This is 1 interval, 2 intervals, 3 intervals, 4 intervals. Put your finger where 4 pi goes. Right there. This is where students struggle, is just the midpoints. You just add and then divide by 2. Add and divide by 2. So class, what do I write here? 0 pi plus 4 pi. And 4 pi divided by 2. 0 pi plus 2 pi. And 2 pi divided by 2. 1 pi, or just pi. 2 pi plus 4 pi. And 6 pi divided by 2. Let me show you guys my money analogy. This might help you later on dealing with the fractions. If these are really quarters, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 quarters in $1. 1 quarter, you can double this to get 50 cents. You can add 1 quarter and 50 cents to get 75 cents. So 1 plus 2 gives you the 3 pi. Okay, so just think of them like money. Okay? Jocelyn, what's next?
Evaluate the function for each of the 5x values resulting from substitute. The points will be mathematical and then we can factors.
So we just need to evaluate. I'm kind of making my table of values right below. So I have, these are my x values. I have 0 pi, pi, 2 pi, I guess I should have done that right there. 3 pi and 4 pi. Partner A, tell partner B, which direction do we need to simplify up here? Jonathan H, which direction? Should I start over here and go towards the right? Or right to the left? So you read our functions, g of x equals 1 sine 1/2 x, but we're going to go from the right to the left. And why do we do that? It's essentially PEMDAS. You're putting it in the x value. There are no parentheses and exponents. Then I'm going to multiply, and then I'm going to evaluate. Later on, you're going to see addition and subtractions, and more parentheses are going to get complicated. Okay? All right. So now to evaluate, I'm now going to take my x value and do what with it, class? What math operation is there? Between the 1/2 and the x is multiplication. So now I'm going to multiply the top row by 1/2. Let's multiply this by 1/2. Class, 1/2 times 0 pi. If you want to, you could put 0 pi over 2 or just 0. 1/2 times pi. Remember, to put it over 1, you're just multiplying the top and then the bottom. So 1 pi over 2 or just pi over 2. 1/2 times 2 pi. That's 2 pi over 2 or just pi. 1/2 times 3 pi over 2. I'm sorry, 3 pi. And then 1/2 times 4 pi. 2 pi. I'm going to put a star by this row. I call this the golden row. What do I call it? Why is it so golden? Because it goes back to the quadrantal angles. Your fractions are going to get really crazy. And what you want to go back is that you can eventually find the order pairs of cosine and sine of the quadrantal angles. So I have x, I have 1/2, and now I'm going to evaluate the trig functions now for sine. Sine at 0 pi over 2, what's the order pair, class? 0, 1, and that's cosine, sine. Is that right, class? Class, is that right? Class, is that right? No, what should it be? 1, 0. You're going right 1 on the x-axis, 0 on the y, and then therefore sine is what? 0. Sine at pi over 2. Sine at pi. Sine at 3 pi over 2. Sine at 2 pi. Guys, this is going to become automatic to you. You're like, oh, sine. 0, 1, 0, negative 1, 0. And then this is what we graph. So I'm just going to lay off any distance you want on the graph. Doesn't matter how many boxes. Just whatever you pick. I have 4 boxes, so I'm going to have to pick 4 boxes going negative 1. Pick your favorite color. Graphing purple here, so I have 0, pi, comma 1, 2 pi, comma 0. That's an x-intercept. 3 pi, negative 1. This is the minimum of the graph. And 4 pi 0, another x-intercept. The common mistake for students will be actually somehow in this graph they would actually draw the bucket. And I know not to draw the bucket or the graph of cosine that starts with the letter what? C, because sine starts with what letter? And it kind of looks like an S. Simple as that. That is a common mistake for students. And that's how you graph sine 1/2 x.